Hey everybody, welcome to How Do I Know You with your hosts Mark and Dwayne.
I was about to do like the hot take point. What up?
And back. You recognize her, you know her. No need for introduction. Let's move on. It's Adelfa. Adelfa is back.
What's up,
The
guys?
unofficial, official third host.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I have a question for you early.
Yeah.
You ever straighten your hair?
Yeah, forever. I think my mom first permed my hair when I was like 3 or 4. And then it was like a week, not weekly. Well, yeah, I'd get my hair done weekly. And then when I was 18, I just like shaved it off. And just went natural since then.
Dang, I met you with like the fro. And then the next time I saw you, you had braids. And then now stretch.
That's like
When I
black
first
women.
met you, it was like short platinum, I think.
That's true.
Short and platinum.
Fun story. The first time I met Mark, he was at work at CVS.
He was crying.
And I walked in and asked him where the condoms were.
And like a professional, I was like, I'll won. But I regret it because I thought of a joke later that I was
What
just like,
was your
shit.
joke?
I would have been like, oh, it's over here, but like in my opinion, you don't need this. Like, it feels way better with that.
Those too big for you, little lady.
So how big is your penis?
Do you need help possibly sizing?
Oh, that's so good. I wish you would have said that.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure because I was just like, I feel like I know this person, but I can't place her. And because I work like at a CVS, you know, you see a shit ton of people all the day, so you know, I couldn't take the risk because I needed the fucking job.
So good. All right, guys. What are we talking about today?
Today's topic is we're gonna take this episode. Today we did the hot take question of can big ever be healthy? Right? And it was, and the context was for the tons of you that didn't fucking listen. The context was the James Corden, like Bill Maher thing.
I think it's Corden.
Gordon? What did I say?
Corden.
Gordon?
Yeah, it's James Corden.
Is it
My
really?
G's sound like C's.
I think it's James Corden,
C's
right?
sound like G's.
Gordon or Gordon?
Wait,
it's
I'm gonna
Corden.
find out. Corden with a C.
Cordon.
Yeah.
'Cause it's European.
Corden.
But it was like the little beef between them. Bill Maher was saying we need to bring fat shaming back. James Corden was like, no, it never did. It never went anywhere. It doesn't do anything but cause depression, blah, blah, blah. But none of them really talked about like what's the real way to deal with that shit or whatever. So we posed the question like, can big ever be healthy? It's granted some big people can be beautiful as fuck. Sure. But is it ever fucking healthy? Can you be like 300 plus pounds and just be the picture perfect health? And I mean, do you guys want to answer that real quick? Like just a quick thing before I get into it?
You answered already.
Yeah, on hot take.
Do you want to give a little recap?
Pretty much, like I said on the hot take, basically I feel like if you like do anything athletic or train at that weight or at a heavier weight, then I feel like it's absolutely possible to be healthy and be, I guess, overweight. However, I feel like generally, like after most athletes or anyone that does anything athletic, when they retire, they usually get down to their normal weight, which is significantly less than what they were doing, whatever they were doing it at. So like boxers, when they fight heavyweight, when they're fighting, they're usually like 200, 220, and as soon as they quit, they slim down to like 175, 180. And then people always they look kind of shocked, and they don't realize that, yeah, that extra 30 to 40 pounds of weight wasn't necessary. That's not their real body, you know? So obviously they wouldn't be able to sustain, in my opinion, a healthy life if they continue to stay at that weight. So for the long term, no, I don't feel like it's healthy. But if you're doing something athletic that you need the weight and you can train at it, then yes.
Okay. I think there's a possibility that bigger people can be healthy. I think we're just so used to thinking that thin is what's supposed to make you look healthy, and I don't think that's right. Because, like, you know, to touch on what Dwayne said, there are bigger people who are like crazy fucking yoga masters, and they're phenomenally healthy, and 200 plus pounds, and it is what it is. But yeah, I think to some extent, big can be healthy. And I think if you're taking care of it and you know where you're at, then yeah, why not?
Yeah. I do believe like there's like a small window where like you have no health problems. The only thing is you're overweight, like aesthetically. That's it. But for those people that like are in that window, I think that if they keep going, they eventually start losing the weight because it's like, why am I completely healthy but I'm gonna just keep this weight? Why would that? Why would anyone do that? But what really bugged me about today's hot take, which I stopped posting fucking answers because nobody fucking listened.
Damn, Mark.
I'm angry, man. I was just like, cause like the whole point of the show was just like you gotta come in with an open mind. Don't come in with like oh, I'm not gonna listen to their question. I already know what they're talking about, and I'm gonna just say this and this and that, even though. Like, for example, like a lot of people were talking about like how, oh, skinny doesn't mean this and skinny doesn't mean that and big is blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, well, we never said that. If you look back at the hot take, we never mentioned skinny people at all. It was all about, like, if your loved one was big and unhealthy and all they had to do was just slim down a little bit to reduce all those health risks, would you tell them?
Right.
But no one brought that up. Like, everyone just took it as a personal attack, which it never is. Like all these questions, they're never a personal attack on you. It's just like, hey, what would you do in this situation? Like, think outside of yourselves. So I don't know. It's been racking my head. It's just I
think it's important to note too, and I guess this is for everybody that's listening and participating in hot takes, is Mark doesn't know any of you. Dwayne doesn't know any of you. So none of it is attacking you personally. And I think if you're going to take that in a personal way, approach it trying to educate them if you feel like you have insight that they don't, as opposed to coming at them because you, A, didn't listen to the end of the hot take, or B, feel personally attacked because maybe that's an insecurity you have and you feel like they're triggering it. So they don't know you from a hole in the fucking wall. He gets like 9 million responses he has to go through. So when you guys attack him and Dwayne, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, 'cause I'm not, especially if I'm trying to like the whole point of the whole thing is trying to, let's discuss shit, let's learn from a whole bunch of stuff. Like there was one person that actually responded was just like, go listen to this obesity podcast where they explain like, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but they explain like just because you're fat doesn't mean you're unhealthy. Right. And it's like this whole new study that they're doing. They're trying to figure it out. It's not like the whole old school way of just like you're fat, you're unhealthy, and that's that. Yeah. There's like levels to it, which is great. Like yeah, that's exactly what I was asking for. Like, is it fucking possible? Because it'd be great. Because I've seen like these parkour videos of like these bigger dudes and people. Like just doing crazy parkour moves, and like they're actually doing all the fucking moves, like you're the person parkour, like the yoga people. I was just like, damn, that's crazy because
it's not what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, because if everyone could do that, that'd be great. If everyone could just be as big as they wanted, like eat whatever they wanted, and still be healthy, a shitload of people do that. But that's not the case for like 95% of people.
My thing is just with the narrative that's going on like right now. I feel like everything is kind of moving towards that whole, which I mean I get it because they're trying to, I feel like they're trying to what's the word, empower like bigger people and things like that, and yes, you are beautiful and all that stuff. However, I feel like there is a huge narrative that's like you can't say anything if you are a smaller person, or you can't have a difference of opinion from seeing like a bigger person. For example, like there was a thing like this was a couple years ago. If you guys remember that, I don't know her name. I think it's like Ashlee something, but she's like I think like the world's like biggest supermodel or like plus size model or something like that. Ashley Graham, is that her name?
Yeah. I think so.
There was a lot of controversy because she was on the cover of Sports Illustrated's like swimsuit magazine, and that magazine, at least that edition of it, is just like it's always been iconic because they have like models and Victoria's Secret models and like athletes and stuff like that. But she was on the cover, And I remember I had this conversation with my girl, and I was like, okay, now let's just take everything out of it. If you were to walk past a newsstand or whatever, and you see this girl on the cover, what would happen? Like, would you pick it up, or would you be confused if you know the magazine and things like that? And she was like, I mean, well, that's the whole point. They're trying to show like it can be a difference in opinion and everything like that. But I was like, I get that. My thing is, what was the point of putting her on the cover of this with no like athletic background or anything? Like, what was the point?
But she's a model, right?
Right, she's a model, right?
Wait, do Sports Illustrated, like, when they're on the cover, are they usually athletes?
No, they're models, but
Right.
like the size 0, paper thin, 6 feet tall models, which nobody really looks like that.
They don't even look like that. That shit's
Right.
all Photoshop.
Right. So I was gonna get to what I was gonna say because in the later years of the magazine, they've been trying to add more actual athletes in it, right? Mm-hmm. So like also with they have this whole issue. Well, ESPN does it. It's called like I think it's like the body issue or something. It's basically like athletes naked and things like that, right? So this was around that time. So they made her the cover girl, which was like, again, I didn't care that she was the cover girl, but I was like, is it generally because she was the best choice, or is it because this is popular, let's go with her? That was my whole like issue with the whole like, did she, not to be like a dick, but like, did she really gain it?
Did she earn it?
Right. Did she earn it, or was it just like, oh, okay, everyone seems to be going in this whole direction, let's put her on the cover type thing? You know what I mean? And then I was like, is this going to send a bad message to people? Because in one hand, it's like, yeah, it's empowering. She's bigger. She's not what we're used to seeing, which is fine. But on the other hand, I felt like, because then there was like a huge wave of like magazines putting like, to be blunt, they were like overweight girls on the cover of these magazines. And I was like, where are we going? Like, what is going on? Is this like, I felt like they were trying to like mock these girls at a certain point, because it was like, is it honest, or is it like, okay, we're gonna get $1, let's just find some chick who's big and pretty and just throw her on here? You know what I mean?
But do you question it when it's skinny women on there?
I don't look at it.
But it made you look at it when she was on there because she was bigger.
Right, and that was only because, not because of they put her on there, it was because of what was being pushed before that. So when she came on, like, it was a big thing on social media, because a lot of people were like, they were kind of like asking why. But it was like a lot of males being like, she's not attractive, which I was like, no, she is fine. So that wasn't my issue. My issue was, is it genuine that she's supposed to be on here, or are they just trying to make $1 out of her being?
So it's Sports Illustrated, right?
Right.
So you're asking, is Sports Illustrated, do they really think like do they really want to empower people, or are they just trying to make a buck off what's trending right now?
Right. So like, and that goes to stuff like this, because I'm like, you can look at someone like a Lizzo right now, and Lizzo's like super popular, right? But a lot of people, I think she did for Rihanna's Fenty line, she did like this shoot for it, and they posted it everywhere. And then a lot of people, again, on social media were like, what? Like, and I was just like, okay, see, here's my thing. Are they doing it to show like it can be sexy and everything like that? Or are they doing it because this is gonna go viral, and then people are gonna have an opinion on it, and let's talk about it and joke on it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I get your question. I think it's also real,
right?
like, and I think it's disrupting the old norm, but I think this is a new norm. So Ashlee on Sports Illustrated. First of all, I don't even think Ashlee's a bigger girl. Like,
She's not.
I think she's a normal. Like, you walk on the street and you see people her size more than you see like anybody else that looks like all the other cover people.
Right. I would take her down.
So
looking her up right now.
That. With Lizzo, she's also extremely talented.
Right.
So I don't think it's a.
Oh, Mark doesn't like Lizzo, by the way.
I don't like the music. It just sounds really generic to me.
Totally fine. But the same way that like that music isn't your taste, she's somebody else's taste. Like, I like Lizzo, And there's dudes that find Lizzo crazy attractive and would fuck her right now. And that's totally fine. So I think that the whole, like, is it making a buck thing? I don't think so. I think we're at a point where people are exhausted of seeing 6 feet tall, 6'2", 6'5" women who are 100 pounds that are literally killing themselves to be this size, to stay on a cover. And they're more going, what's really in our world? Because I can't relate to that. Models, there's literally like 1% of the population that looks like that. And no, who's at this point in 2019, who's sitting there going, oh, I want to flip through this magazine and feel like shit about myself because I don't look like that. So I think we're just moving towards a period where everything is more realistic. Like, Ashlee looks real to me, so I'd want to pick up Ashlee's Sports Illustrated. I don't want to pick up white girl who's 6'2" and 100 pounds who just threw up before the shoot to fit in a swimsuit. I just
But she
don't.
was sick. She
And
had a
even
bug.
like even like Mia King, who's a model, who's like openly speaks about being anorexic to get on a cover and like nearing a point of dying, and eventually got past that, and she's considered like a plus size model. She looks like a regular fucking girl. And you know, with that, I think we're just getting to that point of like, what are we really putting out there? Because to me, it's a better message to put Ashlee on a cover, to kids especially, than it is to put 6'2" skinny white girl on a cover. Because that's not real and that's not relatable. And there are literally girls who fucking purge at age 12 to be this skinny person. And they're just killing themselves to fit a standard that isn't even real, like Mark said, for these women that are on the cover.
Do you, because you kept saying the word real, like it's more real. Do you think we're actually at the point where it's showing legit, like this is real, or we're at the point where like it's that whiplash overcorrection to where like here are these big people and like,
so it's the extremes.
yeah, so it's the extreme right now. Like we're at the point where like they're crazy overcorrecting. Like let's show all these plus size models. But this is the thing, because you said right now, like the skinny ones, they kill themselves to be skinny and stuff like that. Isn't there like a section of plus size people that they kill themselves by eating all that stuff and not trying to get healthier and lose weight?
So I'll answer your first question.
Okay.
I don't think it's an overcorrection, because even if you look at the number of bigger women and men that are out there, it doesn't compare to the number of model types that are out there. And so, no, I don't think it's an overcorrection. I think we're just seeing more of it. And because it's not what we're used to, that change is like, oh, no, this is too much. It's like, you know, fucking straight people in Minnesota who fucking hate pride. And they're like, nope, too much gayness. Nope, we want straight day. And it's like, what are you talking about? They have one day compared to the whole fucking however many days you have to celebrate yourself. So, no, I don't think it's an overcorrection. And then as far as killing themselves, there might be, and I don't know. I'm on neither end of that spectrum, so I don't want to speak out of turn and get fucking hounded.
You will. It's too late.
Doesn't
Probably.
matter.
It's too late. You're skinny. You had an opinion on plus size people. You are not
Right.
allowed to do that.
I'm just gonna stop talking. I don't know. I can't answer that.
That's the thing too, because I feel
is,
like there's people that like they need to lose weight for health reasons or for whatever reasons they need to. It's like I mean, just go with health reasons, whatever. But like seeing like these plus size models and stuff like that, seeing how like everywhere you see is like, oh, big is beautiful, big is beautiful, big is beautiful. Mm-hmm. Change the is to can, first of all. But like it'll give that person an excuse to be like, no, man, like people just got to deal with it. They got to deal with me being like this and blah blah. blah. I was like,
but
because like, to the real person, like to me, I'm speaking just for me, like I don't care if whatever size people are. But if you're just throwing that shit in my face while you're like heavy breathing and like you're dying from just the size you are, like, no, fucking get healthy, like lose the weight.
Yeah.
Stop using this shit as an excuse.
Yeah, and I think there's two different things, because I think the whole big is beautiful movement is more of like a physical thing. It's like, this is also normal, this is also real, this is okay. If it is a health issue, like if we're talking about the health aspect of it,
Yeah.
and you're a bigger person who is genuinely like very unhealthy, yes, I think that's an issue. If you are severely fucking unhealthy and are fully aware of it and just don't give a fuck to change, then yeah, I'd say you're hurting yourself. Absolutely. But if you're a bigger person and you're in good health and you're taking care of yourself, and maybe that's the size that you want to be, or that's the size that you can't seem to get out of, and you have the whole world telling you that that is wrong, yes, you deserve to see big is beautiful.
Yeah, I completely
someplace.
agree with that.
And so that's the thing is like, and going back to that overcorrection thing, like it feels like it's everywhere because it's right now, and it's a hot topic right now. But even to fat people, and that's what James Corden was talking about, they deal with fat shaming all the time. Everybody looks at bigger people some kind of way. I don't think they go a day in their lives genuinely feeling like they're beautiful, because our world does not make them feel that at all. And so, no, but it's true. Tell me realistically what the difference is. Are there bigger people out there who literally feel like every single day the whole world accepts them? Bigger people versus how the whole world accepts thin models.
And this is just me personally. I'm going to say, for me, I grew up around way more annoying big people than small people. Way more.
But how, okay, so that's you.
Right. I'm saying
Let's
me
talk.
personally.
No, and I know, but my question is the whole world. For people, bigger people who walk in the world, so all those bigger people that you grew up with, that you were okay with because that was your norm, when they go out into the world and they're out at the pharmacy or at the supermarket or driving their car, picking up their kids, how do you think everybody else sees them versus how you see them? Do you think they get like looks and feel shitted on and feel othered and feel outcasted versus how somebody would come in and see you and be like, yeah, he's fit, he looks fine? You're not a thought in their mind, but you see a bigger person and it's like, oh, you're big.
See, I'm going to say, yeah, okay. Like, I feel like they would, but I also feel like it's relative to whatever it is that you are. Because I feel like we're now in the world that we think that everyone looks at everyone else and feels like they just have it better. And it's not the case at all. Like, your husband sat here and we both talked about how we were small growing up. We got shit on for being small. It was the same thing. Like there wasn't anything like, because we're small. People were like, oh, you guys are no, because we were small or whatever, skinny. They were like, oh, you're puny, whatever, fuck you. All right. So I feel like any way you look across the board at things, whatever you are, right, you're gonna get some sort of shit. And I think that's my issue with stuff today is people try to highlight everything as like, no, don't do it to me. Don't do it to me. Mind you, they'll turn around and do it to someone else, but then they'll kind of hide behind a movement or some sort of empowerment and be like, no, you can't say this to me because whatever. And me personally, I don't subscribe to that. I feel like if you're going to grow up in this world, have thick skin, be prepared because you're going to get shit everywhere. I don't want to, if we all got, thrown into this and I got to be made fun of because I'm black or whatever, you got to be made fun of because you're black, Hispanic, and a woman. Mark has to be made fun of because he's Hispanic and bald and whatever the fuck you else want to throw in there.
Bald?
Oh, my God. No. Right? We all have to deal with it.
But does it make it right?
Of course not. But...
And that's the issue at hand.
But see,
regardless of whether you've been made fun of or I've been made fun of or Mark's been made fun of or whoever, it doesn't make it right. So just because it's not an eye for an eye kind of deal, you know what I mean?
But I'm saying, do you think it's going to change? Anytime soon. Any of these things that people they bring up is that what they go through when it comes to, and I'm not saying that doesn't mean obviously fight for movements and things like that. I'm not saying that. However, what I'm saying is when you constantly, kind of how Mark is saying, when you throw stuff in people's faces constantly, right? Two things are going to happen. Like we've talked about on this podcast before. Either they're going to be willing to accept it and try to change, or there's going to be massive pushback and you're going to get shit on even worse than what you had already experienced, right? So it's either A, be prepared to deal with that and move forward and try to get your point across, or then kind of what Mark is, I feel like Mark is saying, it's like if you don't want to deal with that, or you don't want to deal with like the issues that you're going to have to deal with later in life, then you need to be prepared to make choices to change. Not just make us feel like, oh, or whoever's fucking with you, which again, I get it, they're dicks. But you can't make people be like, you know what? No, you can't talk to me about all these things. Blah 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 blah. But then, like I said, I feel like a lot of people they'll say that and they just kind of want safety for themselves. But then
what's wrong with that?
No, because what I'm saying is, if a fat person, right, is saying, don't make fun of me because I'm fat, right? I get that. That's fine. However, is it right if a fat person says it, but then shits on skinny people? Would that be right at the end of the day?
No, I don't think so.
Right. So my whole point is, for stuff like this, if it's, again, in a perfect world with all these things, if it's like, I don't want to be made fun of for this because, you know, it's how I am. I didn't.
Oh, wait a second. So do you feel like all these bigger people are shaming skinnier people?
No. I'm saying I don't feel like it's completely like, oh, because they're big, they you know, they get bullied and they don't do certain type of shit. Because like I said, I grew up in a world where fat people got made fun of, then other fat people made fun of skinny people, and it went back and forth. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like in the world, I feel like there's more of that. But what gets highlighted is, oh no, if you're fat, you just get shitted on. And I'm like, I don't know, because I grew up around these guys. We didn't really do that.
Yeah.
Like, and then also the people I grew up around in school, we didn't really do that. There was people who did it. Trust me, I'm not saying they didn't.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
Those were the special dicks that you knew. Like,
exactly.
Don't talk to that dude.
Don't like he's
annoying.
a dick. All right.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying no one not like I don't feel like everyone went in class and being like, oh, that dude's fat as fuck. Like, to make it,
Yeah,
I don't.
no,
It didn't happen. And I'm saying, is it real or are we making it a thing now?
No, I think it's real. I think a lot of bigger people deal with that shit. And it doesn't even have to be a thing about saying it. I still to this day get talked about because I'm this small.
Because you are.
Everybody.
No.
But even now, look, let's talk about the fact that like you got made fun of and you worked really hard to stay at that size because you want to be this big. So it affected you.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess the point that I'm trying to make with that is it doesn't make it okay. I don't think anybody should comment on anybody else's size. I also don't think that it should be a matter of if you don't want to be made fun of, make a change. I don't agree with that because why should you have to change yourself off of somebody else's opinion? It has nothing to do. You're not fucking with them. You're not sleeping next to them.
If you're the person that like it truly affects you and like it's really negative and like you could tell like it's fucking with your self-esteem and it's going down a bad road and like these comments aren't gonna stop because it could just be like someone walking by and saying something. If that truly affects you and you know like you could like it's possible for you to become like healthier and smaller, why don't you?
I think if that's the case, yes. If it's affecting you 100%, make that change.
I feel like that's where we're leaning on. We're not saying like if it's just something that you get annoyed by, you know, then change. We're not saying that because if it's, you know, if you feel like there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
That's fine or anything like that.
And I think that needs to be said because that wasn't understood. So if you're genuinely comfortable with who you are,
then
don't
we
change.
Comfortable.
But would you still feel like that's being thrown in your face?
What?
If somebody is big and comfortable being big and they're just doing the whole big is beautiful thing, would you still be like, oh, I just don't want it thrown in my face?
No, because like I said, for my personal life or whatever, the people that I dealt with like in school and stuff and everything like that, there's a difference, all right? Like I understand confidence being like I'm pretty and everything like that. That's fine, all right? But when you're obnoxious, that's different. Because now I got to shit on you because I feel like now you, like I said, the people I've dealt with, now you're trying to joke and shit on people, but you're not even looking in the mirror at yourself. And that bugs me because then it's like, wait.
We had a class together in college. It was broadcasting.
Yeah.
Was it?
Hey, this worked out.
It was funny because we were just like three quiet people in the back, and slowly like we started making fun of the people that were just like quote unquote popular in the class, and they would make fun of other people, right? And I remember like a group, like a section of the class would make fun of these girls for being bigger, like they would do like side little comments and shit like that. Yeah. And we didn't like come to anyone's defense. We were just annoyed. Because first of all, the jokes weren't funny. No, they were just it was that thing, like that mean thing of just you fat, like that's not funny. Right. So we would shit on those people, but then after we started shitting on those people, they became quiet, right? And then those girls that they were making fun of, all of a sudden they thought they could make fun of other people.
Yeah,
and start
which
shitting on other people.
no.
And we were like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
we will make fun of you now. And
Yeah.
it wasn't, we didn't make fun of their weight or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We just made fun of like their stupid jokes.
Right.
And then slowly they shut up.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Like, don't all of a sudden start thinking you're better than those people if you're gonna do the exact same shit that they were doing to you.
That class was like a microcosm of like society because we were like these people in the corner. It was just me, Mark, and Jay. And we're just shitting on everybody because it was funny, right? But it wasn't like hurtful stuff or anything like that, right? It was just jokes, right? And then literally the popular quote unquote people that we did it to, or whatever, they would stop, right? And then they would shit on the nerds. We would then back up the nerds, but then the nerds would then start shitting on other people. We'd be like, no, don't do that. Yeah. Like, and then it would be like this round robin effect of like everyone just turning on each other and then doing all this stuff. And we're like, wait, you didn't say anything. Like, you didn't defend yourself. We defended you. And now you turn around and it's like, oh, now I'm going to shit on everybody now. And it's like, that's not what we wanted. That's what I was going to say to your point about, you know, if something bothers you, then you just, or no, if someone's like, oh, you're this, then do you change? I was going to be like, okay, let's put it in more practical terms or just practical, like life stuff, right? If if a girl came by and hit you every day you walking down the street, right? But that's like the only route home. If every other route takes you forever to get home, right? Would you decide to, all right, I'm going to take this extra 30 minutes to avoid this girl? Or would you one day be like, you know, I'm going to get the courage to be like, let's fight? Or do you have an issue or whatever? What's the issue? Like, to me, that is what I feel like is how I look at everything. It's like, either you're going to run for some shit or you're going to just choose to take it.
Yeah. I also think people that are truly being like, they're truly okay with who they are and what they look like and everything, regardless of whatever size you are, those people, when they get made fun of, they're like the quickest people to shoot back. Like, I make fun of Jim, and you've seen him on Workout Wednesdays. I make fun of Jim all the time for being like a little bigger because we're friends. And it's just like tiny little jokes here and there. He comes back with jokes about me, about being like short and whatever, bald or something like that. And it's just what we do. Like, he's perfectly okay with who he is. Like, am I right on that? Like, he is perfectly fine with the size he is. He does not give a fuck. He thinks he's a gift from God. Like, there is no self-esteem issues right there, which is why I can make fun of him. But he's like, those people that have like that high self-esteem, they'll fucking just shoot back. They don't give a shit.
So is it okay when they shoot back, but not okay if they're insecure and shoot back?
Elaborate a little further.
Yeah.
So
You broke our brain.
Jim is very secure with himself,
Yeah.
and he's confident. So when he makes fun of you back, that's fine. But if somebody's insecure and what you said affected them, and then they come back and shit on you, that's not okay? Is that what you're saying?
How did they do it? Was it the same way? Like, they just shitted on us? Or
If you shitted on somebody in class that was insecure about themselves, and they came back and shitted on you, that's wrong.
No, it's fine.
But you were just saying that all these people who were so insecure, when they started shitting on people back, you found it to be an issue because they were doing what was done to them.
Because the difference was Jim defended himself. They waited until we defended them and then start to, instead of taking that as like, oh, I'm going to now defend myself, they started to bully people. That is different.
Instead of it being like a quote-unquote fair fight, they waited for this person to be on the floor and then let me kick them in the head.
Yeah, let me start kicking them and stomping them because, like, all this stuff, whatever. And like I said, there's a point where I get it because it's like, oh, they were shitting on me, now I'm going to whatever. But then I'm like, that doesn't solve the issue because now we're just repeating the cycle. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. I just feel like I have actually the balls to do something. I don't know how to say it else but that way.
It's hard. Like, I think while we were discussing this, I kind of realized my whole problem with like today's hot take and why I took it so.
It's because they're fat.
Oh my god!
It's the smell.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Greatest Matrix rap reference ever. I don't care.
No one's gonna understand some Matrix reference. Like, no, but I think my problem is, I guess, because growing up, I never cared about how people like looked, like fat, skinny, whatever, all in between. I never gave a shit about that. It's always been about their character,
Right.
and that's what I gave a shit about, and that's why, like, when it just became like this whole like, it doesn't fucking matter. All fuck, what am I talking about? Oh man, I had it and I lost it.
Bring it together, man. Come on.
Shit.
Come on. Shmonly.
I had it and then we started
Pressure's
talking about a
on.
bunch of stuff.
Pressure's on.
Shit. I had it and then I
Damn it.
got it. Shit.
He was about to bring it home. Damn it.
It was like so close. That was my issue with everyone being like so defensive about like big is beautiful, big is that, and blah, blah, blah. So I was just like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't give a shit about how you look. It doesn't fucking matter how you look. It's about the character of who you are, and that if you're healthy or not. No one gave a fuck about that. Everyone was just quick to being super defensive. There was this one of the answers that I posted was it was like condescending, like, oh yeah, two gym guys talking about like this and that, and I'm just like, oh, okay, so is it like if you are big and then you trim down for whatever reasons, is it like
Should you be shamed for?
Yeah, do you know, like, is your opinion no longer valid when it comes to that stuff? Because you guys didn't see me when I was like 50, 60 pounds heavier than this, and like on the verge of having like type 2 diabetes, and like I couldn't fucking walk a block without like losing breath and all that shit. But
He
like,
was fat.
I was super fat. God, it was. I've seen some other pictures of myself.
I had a lot of fat friends. What the hell?
And you shamed us into being skinny.
I know. See, I'm the real hero.
He never did. Dwayne never gave a shit about that. I could say that. Like, it was never an issue.
So you think?
Yeah, looking back at it, I look at
It was like,
old
I'm
home
the
videos.
best looking motherfucker in this bitch.
No. I mean, because I hung around fucking a whole bunch of athletes, and I never hung out with them because they weren't funny.
Yeah.
This was boring.
But like all that shit, it was just like, oh, so me saying like if I was still that size and I was giving the same opinion I gave on the hot take, like, is it more valid now?
See, that's how I be feeling about everything. No, it's like we can't make comments about women, right? Because we're not women, right? So like the instantly when we say something, it's like shut up, like. And I feel like this shit happens across the board now, and I don't like it because I feel like back in the day there was more like just say what you want to say. And then just be prepared if you're gonna, deal with. I mean, if you're gonna get the heat for it, be prepared to back it up, or don't say nothing. Right now, it's like your opinion is invalid because you're not XYZ, you're not trans, you're not black,
But
you're
that's
not.
you getting the heat back. Just because you say what you want to say doesn't mean you're free from consequences. That's you getting the heat back. Like how back in the day you could say what you wanted to say, and if you got heat, you had to deal with it. You're saying what you want to say about women, about trans people, about gay people, about fat people. But your heat, that heat that you're getting back, you can't deal with it.
No.
Now you're going, I don't know, now I can't say anything. Now that's you getting heat back. It just looks differently.
How is heat? When I said heat back in the day, it was like there was going to be someone that was going to be willing to have a spirited debate with you, right? Now it's blatantly like, oh, scoff. You're not this, so of course you don't know.
Yeah, so
that's not heat.
Whatever you just said means
don't matter.
Nothing. That like really, like if I was that heavy, like at 60 pounds more, and I said what I said, do you think I would have been attacked?
Oh, for
like,
sure. No, you would have been fine. And that's the thing, is that everybody who was on attack mode with you, like I said, has some very serious insecurities or has shit going on that they haven't dealt with, and they're pulling it out on you guys because they don't know you, just like you don't know them. So none of you know Mark, and Mark is talking from experience, and he's talking from shit that he's dealt with, and he's giving his opinion. So absolutely, they would have given you a pass like nothing. They would have had a whole conversation. It would have been fucking phenomenal. But because it's you, and you look how you look now, and this is all they know, they're going to give you their defensive shit.
Right.
That whole comment of two gym guys, blah, 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 I saw that. I didn't really fuck with it. I thought it was stupid and condescending. And once again, if you're going to come at somebody, yes, educate them. Yes, to your point, I'm agreeing with you.
It's finally happened.
Before it fucking goes all over the place.
I will say, like, I don't think any of us mind getting heat back, but when the heat is like, shut up, and that's all, like, shut up, you're not this, you can't have an opinion on this. That's when it's just like, well, like, what do you just want everyone to agree with you? Like,
Yeah,
that's where my problem is.
Have
Like,
you guys ever faced that with "So educate me"?
Yeah.
yeah, we've had people like on, you mean like on like on the thing? Yeah, people have been like, oh, I didn't know this. Like, thanks for telling me. Thanks for doing this and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, that's great. And like today, like I also got that, like, someone was like, listen to this podcast about how, like, these new studies are changing
And
how we see this stuff.
What about you when you come at people and they say, well, you're not a woman, so you wouldn't understand? How do you respond to that?
Are we talking about from this or just in life?
Just generic.
Both, I guess.
From this, I feel like we've done a lot of back and forth on YouTube and stuff about women issues and things, either the episodes you've been on or whatever. And me and Mark have explained our point, and people have literally either unsubscribed, which is very just annoying, or they've gotten angry, and then they've been like, they'll just stop responding. Which, again, to me, I'm like, I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm trying to have a dialogue. Now, in my personal life and everything like that, it's actually a lot easier because I'm face to face with people, and like, I can have this conversation. I can feel how I feel. I'll admit, I personally said at work a long time ago that I was like, I have an issue with fat people. I hate fat people, right? I said this out loud, and there was like 5 people who, like, 2 people on my team and 3 people around who were like, what? You can't say that and everything like that. I sat there and I stood my ground and I explained my point. And they were like, I mean, I get it. You shouldn't, don't say the word hate. I mean, it's just, whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. All right, hate might be a strong word, but my point still stands for me. That's it. That's how I feel. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's how I feel.
And
right?
We've said on the podcast before, like, this is a place to, like, come and talk about your point of view so that we could all learn and get, like, a little smarter from, like, seeing something from a side that we would never have seen from, because we just didn't have those experiences. We didn't have that life.
Right.
And we've said that multiple times, so that when shit like today happens and everyone was like, no. And I was just like, fuck, guys, like, you just shitting on the whole philosophy of this podcast.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like because we grew up the way we grew up and we had so many, like, garage debates, and we talked to people who, we were like 13, 14, talking to either his brother, Jay's brother, all these older people about shit that we just have ideas on. We haven't even done it yet.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I see your point and everything like that. It made us feel like, okay, we can have these conversations. So why in, like, life is it so hard for people to just listen to a different point of view and then be able to rebuttal and go from there? Why is it instant that you have to get angry and be like, no, fuck you, all right? You don't know. That's it. And it's
but
like...
the thing is, you want them to agree or justify your point at some point. Like, I don't find you to be somebody that's receptive to somebody that disagrees with you. And I don't think, yes, and I mean it, and it's not a bad thing, because you're going to fight your point and stand your ground. But if you offend somebody, you have no say on what they're feeling. Like, you can't tell me I can't be offended if you're talking shit about women. Because I'm like, and I'm not saying that you did.
When have I ever said that?
No, I'm not. This is hypothetical.
For example, yes.
So, as an example, if you were to say something about women on their periods are so fucking emotional, I'd be offended by that. Absolutely.
As you should.
And if you said that and I were to rebuttal you and tell you, well, even if I wasn't going to, and I was just to be like, you know what, Dwayne, fuck you. That shit is stupid. I disagree with you. You would have an issue with that because I'm not having an argument, right? That's what you're saying. You want somebody to rebuttal you and have an argument and have a debate and stand their ground and not just say, you don't know what you're talking about because you're not in these shoes.
But, okay. So you're saying that any one of us, I feel like, up here would have the same issue if we're saying educate. Basically, you're saying, this is my point. This is what I feel.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what you said, which was people don't argue anymore. People don't debate anymore. People just tell you, you don't have a right to say this. And that's how they genuinely feel. But you don't like that. Because,
yeah, no.
Right. So that's my point, is like,
but
how can you tell somebody that what they're feeling and that they don't want to argue is wrong because it's not going head to head with you, because they're not doing what you want them to do? Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but you're taking it from a standpoint that we're offending someone.
But that's what's happening. No?
No.
If you're saying I hate fat people, does that not offend fat people?
I didn't say it to fat people.
No, but even so, you don't know whose mom is fat. You don't know whose sister is fat. You don't know whose kid is fat.
Okay.
So if you're in a room going, I hate fat people, you have no idea who you're offending. So if they sit there and go, just don't say the word hate, that could be them going, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't think you should say that.
Yeah, and then my point was like, okay, you're right, I won't say that.
But
so
you
how
didn't
am I not?
say that. You were like, I'm still going to stand my ground.
No, I said, this is how I feel. Yeah, hate was a bad word. That's what I said. I was like, but I said my point still stands of why I dislike fat people. That's not going to change. But, the word hate? Cool. Yeah, that's a bad word. My bad. I don't hate them. Yeah, you're right.
But you want somebody to argue with you.
No,
She's saying like if you said something like let's say that same scenario, you go like, oh, I hate fat people, and then everyone was just like, fuck you. Then like I feel like maybe they were like, I feel offended, and that's all they did. Do you like? Is that?
Are you receptive to that?
Are you receptive like to
yeah,
that?
It happens all the time.
But you're saying that you have an issue with it. Is
No,
what I'm trying to get at. Am I mishearing this? I'm so lost.
Listen to what. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say.
What's your point?
If we're having a debate, we're going back and forth. I say something. We were already having the debate, and then you say, you know what? Fuck you. You don't know because this, that, and the third. I don't respect that because basically to me it's a cop out. If I randomly say, you know what? Women are dumb, and you go, shut the fuck up. I'm like, oh, okay. What is it, man? Like,
You're right.
Like, I don't see, like, when I wouldn't say that.
In context,
So,
if it's
yes.
assuming
In
that you're already in
details,
debate.
Yes.
Right.
If you're in a debate, yes.
Right.
To your point, that is not what you said earlier.
Well,
It didn't come across that
So
way.
at all,
It didn't
I
come
was
across that way.
thinking you were going XYZ, and somebody was like, "Fuck you," and you were like, "Okay,
No.
well, fuck you too."
remember-
Because you're
But
XYZ.
one, wait, hold on. One, now I am offended. All right?
Oh no.
Now I am
Move
offended.
on. We don't care.
Because she said I'm not receptive to whatever, and there's a bunch of proof on this podcast when the first time you were on, we had a whole debate about women, and you told me don't call women females. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And I didn't do it, right?
You need to be more receptive than that. You have to go above and beyond.
That's basically what she wants. It's like, no, you have to agree with me all the time.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. I do think, though, that you have a hard time accepting when people have a difference of opinion.
I don't see how, because me and him do this all the time. If that was the case,
but that's you two.
No, but I'm like, if that was the case, none of my friends would be my friends.
But you're only talking about your circle. I'm talking about in life. Like, we're talking about in life. I'm discussing life with strangers, with everything like that. If you were to go to a stranger and have this conversation and they disagreed with you, I don't think you'd take it well. And I take that off of, like, even our disagreements, where, like, I can tell you something factually and you'll still find a way to weasel your way in there. Which is great.
Yeah.
There's a great thing to that.
Yeah.
Because you're standing your ground. There's a great thing about being
but,
stubborn.
Let me guess something for Dwayne, because I think I do the same thing when it comes to shit like this, and it comes to just like people outside of our circle. If we see like an inkling of like the discussion happening, we'll say our opinion on it. But if we start seeing like the people, they're just not receptive to it, or like they don't see it the way we see it, I don't think we push it past.
No.
That little part. We don't go hard in the paint like we do with we like we do with when we're talking to people in our inner circle. Like with you, we do that because we value your opinion, and like we get it. We're trying to learn from you and stuff like that.
You're only gonna get this energy if I feel like you can take it.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it's a respect.
Which, by the way, Dwayne and I really love each other, and as soon as this turns off, we always give each other the biggest hug and say, I love you, and I go home. So please don't think that we're like, we fucking hate each other.
But he goes home and yells at his wife.
Start
like,
that.
You fucking women.
No, I think, because like if we're doing that with you and we're actually going like crazy back and forth, it's because we respect your opinion on stuff, and we really want to like learn and everything like that. But with like just the everyday people and stuff like that, people at our jobs, our office like that, I feel it out. And then if I see like, oh, you're not really about like hearing something, you just want to hear yourself talking.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm like, all right, cool. Like that's
there's a dude at my job who he blamed the riots back in LA in '92 on black people, and he said that black people ruined like Koreans' lives and businesses and things like that. And I looked at him and I was like, and I could tell because he was going in and everything like that. I didn't go like, damn it, no, we were on the train, we were having a talk. I was just like, okay, I see your point. Because to me, I'm like, one, you sound stupid. However, you feel this way, stay feeling this way. I don't have an issue with you. That doesn't mean like, oh my God, you piece of shit and everything like that. You feel this way. You grew up this way. Those are your people. You have the right to feel that way. I'm not gonna go super hard and be like, oh, that's racist, what you just said or whatever. Now, I might be in my mind, I might be like, you kind of a little racist, bro, but whatever. But however, that's how you feel. And I feel like the reason why we debate this way, it's because that developed from us doing that. It wasn't something like we just didn't grow up and be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to get my opinion across and everything like that. It's no. Being around this nigga, Jay, and all the people we were around, it was like if you didn't say your point or like at least get it across, you were going to get overtalked. It wouldn't matter anymore. Oh, you stupid. You pussy. Don't matter no more. So now how we do that with each other, people that we're around, it's like, okay, this is my point.
Mechanism.
This is my point. Basically, try to change my point.
Yeah.
It's a game to us. Try to change my point.
Change my mind, basically.
Yeah, change my mind. All right.
For fun.
Man. You guys are intense.
It's
sorry for saying that you're not receptive to
I
things.
feel like I feel like I'm the most receptive in the group. I was like, what? Like,
That's debatable. I'm just kidding.
You're not receptive to being the most not receptive person.
I feel like
Proving my point, Dwayne.
she is biased. All right, she's biased because you're her little brother, which is fine. It's fine, but I'm just saying.
I love that you're my little brother.
Yeah, I know. Even though you're younger than me.
But
Damn your old soul.
just is what it is.
It always works. Well,
Yeah.
I do apologize, and I mean that wholeheartedly.
Thank you.
Because I think understanding your point definitely makes a difference. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I had to stop doing that with like random people on the hot takes because I noticed like if I truly try to go back and forth and try to understand their point of view and try to like show them where I'm coming from, I did that a couple times. Each of those people unfollowed.
Did they really?
They really, they just unfollowed the Instagram, and I was just like, oh, like people don't really want to talk. People just want to say whatever they want to say, and that's it.
There was a girl who recently on one of the hot takes, she had said something about whatever, but she had said something about the N-word really meant like I think she said that the N-word it wasn't for black people. It actually meant like something about like people being ignorant. And I was like, who taught you this? This is wrong. Like this is just clearly wrong and
like
everything.
Present day N-word?
No, like back in the day,
Like
the N-word.
where it stems from.
Didn't that stem from wasn't that a name for like kings and princes at some point? Like the initial word was
I'm talking about.
Oh my God, I have to look this up.
Look that
Well,
up.
I'm talking-
Because no, present day shit, yeah. That's
I'm talking about in
fucking
American
stupid.
society.
Oh,
I'm not talking about.
No, never mind that.
That would never happen in
The
America.
origin of the word is.
Because like really like I mean most people is like I would assume like most people that know even a little bit of history that word comes from like slave times, right?
right.
Just
The word nigger derived from Negro, if you're talking about American times, and then it was used as a derogatory term for black people, right? But wherever you about to go, hey.
So, okay, never mind. I was wrong. So it says the word originated in the 18th century as an adaptation of the Spanish word negro as a descendant, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Man, I thought I saw this somewhere. I'm going to look this up. I'm going to come back and let you guys know.
That would be cool back like if that just like
No, it would be.
Because I thought it was spelled like Niger at first, and then it had a deeper meaning, but like way back before white people fucked everything up.
That would be nice.
But
yeah, she just went on like a whole thing of like.
But where did that even come from? What were you guys talking
It
about?
was weird because it was like we had this question and she like did a whole like audio message to it, and I was just like I was super confused because I was like I was like, is this in reference to the question? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I was like, what?
So I heard.
Follow you too.
No.
She's very about like learning, and
Right.
she's actually like she'll have her opinions, and then we'll say what we say, and she's like, oh, thank you for like telling me your point of view.
Good
Right.
on
She's
you
awesome.
for following rules.
Yeah, it's like she said that,
and she basically said that she was taking a Chicano studies class, and they had, I guess her professor said the N-word really meant
for ignorant people. It had nothing to do with whatever. And I was like, that's just wrong. That's wrong. I don't know why you were taught. I mean, why they're teaching you that. But and then
Professor needs to get fired.
huh? Well,
That
hey,
professor needs to get
but
fired.
I gave a screenshot of like the actual Webster's dictionary and like where it came from and where it originated and everything like that. But then she also went on, when she kept talking, she was saying how she felt like basically Mexican Americans' place in history gets like they don't get anything. And like she's like black people get all this stuff, the LGBTQ gets all this stuff. And I went and I was like, hey, I am not Mexican, right? But I understand that you feel this way. However, I feel like we shouldn't do this whole, oh, you guys get this, we need this type of thing. We need to figure out the way to get there together because
it was happening to all of us.
Yeah, it's happened to all of us. We're all minorities, so at the end of the day, we're all second. There is no like, oh wait, white people, then it should be Mexicans or blah blah blah, however you want to do it, right? And she was very receptive to that, right? But I was just like, that way of thinking is wild to me. But a lot of people think like that these days, and that's kind of where I feel like we're talking about with these, like, when we want to say not debate, but like explain.
Yeah.
Like we always go like elaborate on what you're talking about. It's never like we see something, we're like, oh, this is stupid as fuck. And you're like, no, we're like, elaborate. What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? So that then, like, when you are being stupid, people are like, you're stupid.
Yeah, you're just stupid.
You're stupid. So dumb.
So wait, question now, because you said something interesting, which was we should all be working to get to this place together.
I said that the first time.
I've been saying
it.
No, right. Does that apply to fat people? Where they want their in, are we leaving them behind by shaming them constantly? And they're trying to make their way in, and now we're like, nah, too much. No, go back to, I want thin models on the magazine covers.
Here's what I'll say to that. I'll say, no, wait,
Me.
no.
Stall a little bit so that I could think of it.
No, I'm not even stalling. Here's what I want to say to that. If they feel like it, their plight is on the same level, sure.
You don't feel like their plight is on the same level?
Because I think that's all like things that are. I don't feel like anything that's aesthetic based is like a real. Come on. Like I don't look at it like that. I just don't.
But black people, like skin color, that's an aesthetic to some people.
No, see, that's something that you were. Okay, so besides the people out there who are going to say, like, you can be because of whatever disease and everything like that, can you be born overweight and completely stay that way the rest of your life without having some sort of...
There's a genetic... Yeah, and that whole, like, James Corden thing where he was like, there can be a genetic mishap in your body that will make you obese.
Well,
that is linked to obesity.
Well, okay, that's kind of what I was saying. Without having some sort of issue like that, that would cause
like if it's a choice kind of thing.
Right, like you chose to just keep eating.
No, well, that's the obvious. But I'm saying, like, is there anything that links itself without being a genetic mishap or anything like that to someone being?
Say it's a mishap.
What?
Sorry,
but someone that was born overweight and can do nothing about it besides, obviously the things that we know, right? There isn't. So to me, I'm like, that's something where skin color is different because we born this way. Of course, you can't change it. Some people can because they're weirdos and rich. Sammy Sosa, go fuck yourself.
But don't you dare. Let's not go there. Yeah. Let's not.
He didn't do it. I don't believe the kids. I don't believe it.
I mean, because if I'm going pedophile, Macaulay Culkin.
Is he a pedophile?
What? Of course. Anyway, we're going to keep going.
What? Are you serious?
Brenda Song, I'm coming for that.
Pause. Can we talk about that?
No, he's not a pedophile.
Well, we don't know.
Oh, yeah, we don't know.
We can't be definite.
He made that weird movie with Seth Green. They were doing some weird shit, man. I don't know. But, like, stuff like that, I feel like it's a little different. But if it's like, if models, like you said, people who are severely skinny were like, we get shamed, we want to get I'd be like, come on. Like, at a point... Then everything's going to be put in. It's like everything's going to be like, I have 1 foot bigger than the other. I've been shamed my whole life. Throw me in here, too. And it's like, what is actual, like, struggles? And what's something that's just, like,
Do you think that there are bigger people who genuinely feel like they can't change what their thing is? I don't want to say condition because it's not that. But like, do you but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
like
what you
they're
mean.
like, I've tried and I've tried and I've dieted and I've done this and I've followed all the steps and nothing's working.
I do believe that they believe that, but I think it's because they just they gave up. Because I hear it in my office like all the time. Like there's like it's just excuse after excuse after excuse of why I can't exercise this, I can't follow the diet because I can't do it because of this and that. I'm just like, well, you're giving every excuse in the book and you didn't even give it a week before you started saying a whole bunch of excuses. So I do believe that there's people that have just like given up and accepted it. Fine, whatever, your life, your choice. But if you're constantly just giving excuses, that means you haven't given up and you just want that push from somebody. Which it has to be from the right person, because if it's just that random dude in the office, you're not gonna listen to him.
Yeah.
So you're saying that all fat people who have stayed fat gave up?
I think so.
See, now if I said that, we would have an issue right now. We'd be going back and forth.
That's a 260-pound mark. I'm saying that. So I'm allowed
Mark is allowed to say that stuff.
See what I'm saying?
As a former fatty.
I'd get at Mark if he said something about like the struggle of being black, because I'd be like, dude,
he would never do that.
But that's why I can't argue with him on that, like, because he's talking from shit that he knows.
I tend to forget that like all three of us grew up in like this melting pot, and we like growing up in the melting pot, we actually chose to interact with other people outside of like just the people that look like us. I forget that like most people don't do that. So I forget that like they really don't understand, or they don't want to understand the plights of other people at all.
I agree with that. I don't think they do. And I don't think they care, and I don't think that they can see past themselves.
Oh, at all. Because there's this person in my office, she's like, oh, I grew up in Watts. I grew up around, like, all the black people and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, but you were the one being racist and saying this is why people don't like little black boys.
Woo!
Yeah, and I was just like, but you grew up around black people? Cool. And you didn't,
disgusting.
Like, if you grew up around black people, then you understand. Because she's, like, some kind of Latin. It was like, if you grew up around black people and you don't understand that we all go through the same shit, then you did not interact with any of them. You didn't talk with any of them. You didn't have friends with any of them. You stuck to your own people that were in the same block as you or whatever, and that's it.
See, now, of course, I agree with you, but would it be weird that I respect her opinion still?
In which opinion?
Her to feel the way she feels.
Why?
Because I've always felt that way about people in general. I feel like you can literally feel however the fuck you want to feel about shit, right? The only thing that comes with that is, in my opinion, if you have an issue with black people, then you cannot speak on black people. You cannot be associated with black people. Just remove yourself.
Nothing from their culture.
Nothing, right? I've always felt like
Which
that.
she does not do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's always been my issue with stuff like that. That's always been my issue when it comes to people that do shit like that, because I'm like, if you, like, I used to have a whole bunch of Cholo homies back in high school, right? And they would be like, man, Dwayne, nigga. I'd be like, why do you, whatever. But they'd be like, man, you like a low key, like, they'd be like, yo, you like the only black person I talk to, bro. Like, you like the coolest one, everything like that. And I'm like, okay, I mean, cool. But in my mind, I think about it, I'm like, man, one, like, I don't know how you grew up. So if you grew up in an area or a household that kept feeding you this shit, it's not your fault, right? Two, you're cool with me. So there's something inside of you that knows at least right and wrong, right? It might take a little longer, but there's something inside of you that knows it, right? But I'm not going to get mad at you because I don't know what you went through. You know, I don't know, like, you could leave school and every day be going at niggas, right? Yeah. So can I really feel away and be like, nah, man, fuck that. Like, nah, if you like me, you can like all of us and shit like that. I'm going to be like, hey, cool, we cool, right? However, that doesn't mean I'm going to agree with your whole fucking whatever. And the cool thing about it, they never say anything about black people around me. They never were like, man, fuck niggas and everything like that. I used to walk through, like, because we had like this Cholo wall back in high school. I used to walk through that shit and get dapped up by so many of them because they just knew me and everything like that, right? And I was like, but they wouldn't do it for like black people. They would close the wall or like fights would break out and shit like that. But I felt like it was because of that mindset of me being like, I respect whatever. I respect how you feel. Just keep it that way.
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, because when in my office when she said that the whole like this white nobody likes little black boys.
She said it around y'all. That's why I don't respect it.
Yeah, that's what she would never say that around other black people if they were black people in the office.
Right.
But what I started doing was because it annoyed me so much, I kept like any little thing. I was just like, I was like, see, this is why no one likes little Guatemalan kids. Guatemalan, I can't say it fast. Guatemalan kids.
Right.
And then she would get legit mad.
See,
and I was just like, wait. You said that thing about black kids, but they can't say it about you? Like,
that's like, I don't respect that.
Yeah, that's where I'm just like, yeah. If you're gonna have an opinion, just be ready for like if you get mad at it coming to you, then no, you're wrong.
Because at the end of the day, I feel like not everyone, but a lot of people feel how they feel.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people think they're the exception.
Right. And the thing that always bothers me is I feel like we do way too much of trying to change people instead of just being like, you know what, fuck them.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just climb over you at this point. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we cannot, like, especially to use them as an example, like old white people, you're not going to change their mind. You're just not. Like, they've been this way for years. It's going to stay that way until they die, and it is what it is. However, that doesn't mean don't befriend their kid, because their kid can be cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they might not feel the way that their parents feel at all. But I feel like now we're in this world where we look at shit and it's like, fuck all white people, fuck all black people, fuck all Hispanic people, and everything like that. And it's like, yo, you just killed off everybody because you had an issue with one person.
What if you have an issue with like a lot of them?
See,
because I have an issue with a lot of white people.
Well, see, but
because we get racially profiled.
Well, of
so
course.
Yes, I will absolutely say fuck all white people, and I've said that before. However, I know a lot of great white people. But what does that make me in that situation?
So, my thing is, I feel like you would, but let's just throw it out there. The question: would you stand on that if you say like a lot of great white people, right? Mm-hmm. Can you, in front of them, be like, okay, right? So,
yes, I have.
There's more. So after that, now can you go up to complete strangers who haven't done anything to you, right? And if you're having just a general conversation about, let's say, politics and everything like that, and you bring up Trump and everything like that, can you feel the same way and say your points or whatever you want to say to them without feeling like, oh, I'm a dick?
No. I mean, I could say that. I wouldn't feel like I'm a dick.
So,
I stand by my point with a stranger, with friends, with whoever, because I can back that up.
So then at that point, like I said, I respect you. I can't look at you and be like, nah, man, like, nah, you fucked up, because you can't.
Star for me.
I respect that. Like I said, what I will never respect is the same way. Like I told my girl always questions me like, oh, how come this Hispanic person can say nigga and everything, like they'll be like one of my friends and everything like that. I'm like, A, grew up around me. B, known in the neighborhood, knows a whole bunch of black people. C, is not racist. And D, he will say it to niggas that I don't even co-sign, right? So that to me means that you're willing to deal with whatever you're gonna deal with that. I gotta respect that. However, I don't respect your friends from doing it because they do it amongst each other. When I come around, it gets quiet. I don't respect that.
Call him out, Dwayne.
I don't respect that. Right? That's different. All right.
What's your girl's name?
What?
What's your girl's name?
Shirley.
Shirley, get your friends.
now. But I don't respect that. That's different to me because I'm like, to me, that's pussy. Like, nah, if you're going to stand by that and everything like that, stand by it all the way, like, tenfold, then whatever you deal with from that, deal with it. Mm-hmm. Period. That's just how I feel about everything, though. From the like I said, from the jump we started this conversation, I feel like that way about everything. I tend
to forget that not everyone thinks that way, and that's why I tend to get upset and like I get angry and like I'm known to be like the angry one in the group and shit like that. Because I forget this stuff, but I realize it after talking it out.
Like we always say, if I don't know and you don't know,
who really knows?
And how do I know you? Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.